Welcome to the Rewriting Naruto series part 60. This is a series of videos where I rewrite Naruto, making changes to improve the story for my personal taste. Definitely like the videos, subscribe, ring notifications, seriously all those things help me a lot. They keep the series going, and it only takes 2 seconds for you to give me a like. Alright, let's get going. Suigetsu didn't know for how long he was stuck in the darkness. It felt like days. He couldn't hear what was happening outside, only faint, vague noises. May molded the earth to send water and food into the stone ore to maintain Suigetsu alive, but there was nothing for him to do there. The thought of Kai kept on invading his mind, bringing back the pain. In his solitude, he realized he couldn't even cry anymore. Was that resignation, or was he simply too numb? Suigetsu didn't know, but he didn't feel numb. The anguish never quite left him. But strangely, if he could be of any use, if he could do something to improve the Mist Village so that no one else would have to go through what he did, then at least there would be a silver lining to it all. After what seemed like an eternity, the Earth Dome cracked and disintegrated, releasing Suigetsu. He thought about dashing away, but Suigetsu felt weak, and he realized he was in a strange place, with even stranger people. Mei was next to where the Earth Orb once stood. She still had the battle marks from the fight against Mangetsu showing all around her body and clothes. They were at a dark storage location. There were no windows, and the room smelled like mold. Suigetsu thought they were probably underground. 2 men stood a few meters away from them. One had gray hair and round glasses. The other had a strange green hair, and his entire body was covered in bandages. They both stared at Suigetsu, and their gazes, especially from the man in bandages, seemed to exert physical pressure on him. That strange man had the eyes of a snake, ready to pounce and kill his prey. "I didn't know you enjoyed confining children, Mei," the man with glasses said with an outrageously arrogant smirk. "I'm not doing this out of enjoyment," she said firmly, but Suigetsu could tell she was tense. Is she afraid of them? He thought. Suigetsu himself was scared, but if Mei was scared as well, then things were dire. She was strong enough to kill Mangetsu, and Mangetsu was extremely powerful, so who could these guys be?
There is no need to antagonize our guest, Kabuto. She already looks panicky enough. And take a good look at her. She's quite hurt. Perhaps you should offer some medical assistance.
The other man said. His voice was unsettling. And even though he told the other not to antagonize me, the way he spoke just made things even more intimidating. I thought she had been one to contact us, but I suppose I could offer you medical assistance. I did contact you, but I don't need your assistance. I wish to make a deal with you. Orochimaru. Orochimaru? That's Orochimaru! Suigetsu thought as terror took over him. He heard many stories about this man. They were all horrifying. He was probably the ninja with the most vile reputation in the world. Why would Mei want to make a deal with him? She told Suigetsu she wanted to restore the Mist Village, make it a better place. How could that man help her with that?
A deal? You take me for a reasonable man? I am flattered.
Of course I don't. I'm not insane. Do you really think it's wise to provoke when you're offering a deal? Don't forget you're trapped in here. You put yourself in a terrible position. This better be a great deal. Otherwise, we cannot ensure your safety here. Don't mock me. Oh, by the way you look, it's hard not to mock. If I am to die here, I'll make sure to bring both of you with me.
You are a feisty one, Mei. What deal have you come here to offer me, risking so much?
I have a job for you. One that will be very much to your liking.
I am not a mercenary.
I know you aren't, but you haven't heard me out. You wouldn't want to pass out on it. I know the types of things you like. Orochimaru smirked.
Go on.
I want you to kill Yagura, the 4th Mizukage.
Now that's a tall order.
You've killed the Hokage and the Kazekage. I expected you'd enjoy killing another of the 5 Kage.
Yagura is a powerful shinobi and the Jinchuriki of the 3 Tails. It wouldn't be a simple task.
And that's not even counting on how difficult it would be to launch an invasion of the Mist Village to assassinate him. We had to do a lot of work with the Sand Village to put us in a position to attack the Leaf and kill those 2 Kage. That will not be necessary. I will provide you with a time and location of when Yagura will be away from the village village and relatively alone. Orochimaru took his hand to his bandaged chin. Suigetsu couldn't see his mouth, but he could tell by the only exposed eye that Orochimaru was smiling. I know you want to see the world changing, to plant seeds of chaos and observe the outcome. This would certainly do that.
You are a cunning one. There's far more to you than meets the eye. But why would you want your own Kage dead? That is high treason.
To overthrow the current regime and establish a new system to the village. To stop the senseless massacring of children. Yagura is a foul man. The Mist is a foul village. I have put most pieces into place. Once Yagura falls, I will become the 5th Mizukage and start a revolution in my village. How boring. That can't be it. What's your real motive? There is no reason to stop the children from killing each other, and that's what makes your village and your shinobi who they are. I speak the truth. I have no ulterior motive. If you keep on lying to us...
No, Kabuto. She's not lying. She truly is an altruistic soul, risking everything to save the children of her village.
And you find that deplorable?
No, I find that magnificent. An angel who yearns for the salvation of her mortals comes to make a deal with the devil, tainting and sacrificing her own soul so that theirs will remain immaculate.
My soul has been tainted for a long time. I wonder, though, if you think you have what it takes, why don't you kill Yagura yourself? I need an external force to kill him, and one that wouldn't provoke a war with the other villages. I can't do it myself because I can't have his assassination pinned on me, so I need you to claim his death when you do it.
The Miss Village wouldn't rest until they hunt me down.
Isn't there any village now, anyway? You're worth 1 billion ryo in the bingo book. Orochimaru and Kabuto both smirked. When I become Mizukage, I'll make sure not to spend time and resources looking for you. I'll obviously condemn Yagura's assassination, but the Mist won't move to kill or capture you or your allies. But if Lord Orochimaru kills another Kage, he will become an even greater bounty around the world. Surely you have something else to offer us, other than the simple chance and satisfaction to kill a Kage. I really thought another Kage wouldn't add too much to your resume. After all, you might be the most wanted rogue ninja in the world at this point.
Yes, I surpassed Itachi after the Hokage and Kazekage's assassination.
What else do you have to give us in exchange? I know one of your goals is to destroy the Akatsuki. You were once one of them, weren't you, Orochimaru? But now they're a problem for you. Killing Yagura will greatly diminish the Akatsuki's powers.
How so?
Mei sighed. After all the intel I collected, I am confident to say Yagura is an agent of the Akatsuki. For the first time in that conversation, Orochimaru looked surprised.
In what capacity?
That is unclear. I don't know what type of deal he has struck with the Akatsuki, but they've been using my village as a base of operations, and they have countless hideouts around the Land of Water. Yagura is actively cooperating and helping them with whatever goals they have, providing financial and manpower support. The Akatsuki might as well be an ally of the Mist Village. I take it you didn't know that, did you?
I wasn't in the Akatsuki for very long.
The Land of Water makes for a good hiding place, away from the continent and the other great villages. Fewer people, thousands of small islands. It makes sense.
Has Sasori ever mentioned anything like that to you?
I'm afraid not. What the hell are they talking about? What is this Akatsuki? What does it mean that Yagura is working with him? Suigetsu was very confused. Those bastards wearing their red cloud cloaks have been using our country and leeching our resources, on top of being the worst type of ninja to have around. Red clouds? Suigetsu remembered something. A few months ago, Mangetsu and he went on a mission to deliver a package to a strange man wearing a black cloak with red clouds. He had green eyes and looked intimidating. His headband was crossed. Could he have been an Akatsuki? Suigetsu had a distinct impression they were delivering him a large amount of money, provided to him by Yagura himself. When I become Mizukage, I will crack down on the Akatsuki, wipe out their hideouts, and eliminate any other member members in the Land of Water territories. That will force them back to the continent, which will make them more vulnerable. I suspect that's something that would help you.
The Akatsuki is not so easily defeated. Even if you stop supporting them and launch a campaign to expel them from your land, they have means to escape you and elude even your best shinobi.
Still, it'll be much worse for them if one of the 5 major nations isn't providing them direct support.
Killing Kages is not a light task. I am living proof of that. The reward you offer is still too immaterial and abstract for me to take such risks.
I figured you'd say that. Mei pointed at Suigetsu. He'll be your upfront payment. What? What do you mean?
One child is hardly anything.
He's not any child. He's a member of the Hozuki clan, and he inherited their Keikei Genkai. Orochimaru's tongue popped out of the bandages and licked his lips as his eye lingered on Suigetsu with unquenchable thirst.
The second Mizukage clan. So he possesses the hydrification jutsu.
Yes. Orochimaru appeared in front of Suigetsu. A snake came out of his mouth, and out of the snake's mouth emerged a sword that pierced Suigetsu through the heart, and the sword exited his back. Water squirted out of his wound. Suigetsu let out a gasp, only realizing what had happened after the sword was already lodged in him. Mei had raised a water barrier around her to respond to Orochimaru's attack. The snake and the sword came back to Orochimaru's mouth. The blade dripped water as it left Suigetsu's torso. Orochimaru's mouth was now exposed, for the bandages had bursted after his attack.
I had to make sure you weren't lying.
I know you like Keikei Genkais to experiment on. I'll give him to you in exchange for Yagura's head.
So you're sacrificing one of your own children for the greater good of all the others. Your soul is truly tainted.
Orochimaru took a step closer, getting face to face with Mei. They locked eyes, and the tension was palpable in the air.
Indeed, I love Keikei Genkais, and you, Mei Terumi, have 2 of them.
She tensed up, reinforcing the water barrier around her, ready to fight. No! Stop, please! Suigetsu shouted. I'll go with you! It's fine! Orochimaru turned his gaze to him and smiled.
Why are you trying to help her?
It's over for me. At least if you help her with Yagura, the brutality will end.
What is your name, child?
Suigetsu.
You will be very useful, Suigetsu.
I have something else to give you. Mei grabbed a scroll in haste, trying to improve her deal. She opened the scroll and used hand signs to summon something, but it wasn't just anything. It was Mangetsu's mangled, watery corpse. That sight made Suigetsu's stomach churn. Even though he wasn't devastated about his brother's death, seeing him that way made him feel sick. He had still been his brother, his family, and the one who took care of Suigetsu after their parents died, and now he was being exchanged as if he was a simple commodity. That was ironic though, for Mangetsu had told Suigetsu many times that shinobis had monetary value, and they were nothing but tools. Even after his death, Mangetsu was adhering to his own logic. This is another Hozuki, this boy's older brother. I know a dead one isn't going to be as useful, but I figured it wouldn't hurt.
Mangetsu, huh? Yes, he will be very useful.
Orochimaru returned to Kabuto's side.
I was just joking. I accept your deal.
I'll inform you of when and where Yagura will be at his most vulnerable, Mei said, as Kabuto picked up Mangetsu's corpse and sealed him inside of a scroll of his own.
As for you, Suigetsu, you are coming with us.
Mei turned around, but before she left, she touched a hand on Suigetsu's shoulder. I'm sorry. I wish it didn't have to be this way. A single tear ran down her cheek, and she left the storage room. Suigetsu traveled blindfolded for almost 3 days. Apparently, Orochimaru and Kabuto didn't want him to know where the hideout they were taking him was located. Not that Suigetsu would have a clue, even if he could see the whole way. The journey was awfully silent. Orochimaru and Kabuto barely talked to Suigetsu, and he didn't want to provoke those 2 weirdos by taking off his blindfold. Although his gut told him that somehow they were communicating amongst each other. Obviously, they didn't want Suigetsu to know all their plans. Suigetsu didn't care about that. He honestly didn't. What frightened him was what they would do to him. Would they dissect Suigetsu? The hydrification jutsu could save him for a while, but if Suigetsu ran out of chakra, they could actually do it. He tried not to think about his own future, but the anxiety almost got the better of him during the journey. In the darkness, he realized his life had completely shifted, irreversibly so. Would Orochimaru own him forever? Could Suigetsu ever get strong enough to flee? Kai told him to survive, but Suigetsu was at their mercy. He had a feeling the hydrification jutsu wouldn't solve all his problems. So to try to lighten things up, Suigetsu decided to lean even more on his mask of humor. Or was it really a mask now? Suigetsu didn't even know. He got the feeling he had become naturally more humorous, laughing at a terrible situation here and there, cracking inappropriate jokes. At least it allowed him for a brief moment to escape the situation. Think back to better times when he used to splash Kai's face with water for their amusement. After 3 days of journey, they finally took off his blindfold. Suigetsu found himself in another underground location. It was dark and devoid of any decoration. So this is your evil lair?
Something like that.
Come with me, Suigetsu. I'll show you your quarters, and then run some tests. Suigetsu's quarters was actually a large water tank hooked up to a web of wires that sent chakra into it to analyze the properties of what was inside and also to neutralize whoever was inside from producing any jutsus. Suigetsu could still mash his body with the water in the tank, but somehow Orochimaru and Kabuto found a way to make him a prisoner there. Escaping was impossible. They ran several experiments on Suigetsu, collecting sections of his water body, subjecting him to all types of damage. Most of them didn't work, but a few did, and those hurt a lot. Sometimes they took Suigetsu out of the tank for experiments, and they also made Suigetsu fight against several of Orochimaru's other prisoners. Suigetsu won every single fight, but he didn't kill them, and Kabuto and Orochimaru didn't seem to care Suigetsu was sparing them. As a matter of fact, Suigetsu barely even saw Orochimaru anymore. Kabuto was much more involved with his experiments, as well as a few other scientists that worked for the Snake Man. Where are you taking me this time? Suigetsu asked Kabuto as they traveled to a different hideout. I've already collected a lot of data on your KK Genkai, so now I'll run some joint tests. Test a few hypotheses. Suigetsu didn't want to inquire any further. Kabuto was a weirdo. He didn't want to give him any further ideas. Many of the experiments Kabuto did on Suigetsu caused a lot of pain and other forms of discomfort. Weirdly though, he got the feeling Kabuto didn't hate him or anything. Suigetsu was simply a tool for his goals. A tool that reminded him of his brother. Suigetsu and Kabuto arrived at a new hideout, a few dozen kilometers away from the one Suigetsu was usually kept in. It was pretty similar to the one he was used to, all things considered, built for function and stealth more than anything else. Kabuto took Suigetsu to a large room with some lab equipment. A girl around Suigetsu's age waited for them there. She wore glasses and her hair was red. Suigetsu stared at her. His mind took him back to a time that seemed like eons ago. What are you staring at me for, you weirdo? Suigetsu took a moment to realize she was talking to him. It's just your hair. Remind me of... Never mind. If you don't quit that, you'll regret it. Suigetsu's right eye twitched in annoyance. Who does that girl think she is? He thought. Why did you bring this pervert here, Kabuto? I'll run some experiments with the two of you. That's why. No, I don't want to do anything with him. Look at his face. What's that supposed to mean? You look like you fell off your cradle when you were born. Shut up, you little cow. What did you call me? Little cow! The girl punched Suigetsu in the face. His head popped into water, drenching her over. Yeah! What the hell is that? Did I just kill him? That's so disgusting! Suigetsu's head reformed itself. You wish, he said with a smirk and splashed the girl with a water blast. I'm gonna kill you! Quiet, the two of you, Kabuto said, pulling a vial with green liquid from his satchel. His tone became far more serious. Let's begin. Suigetsu, extend your arm forward. The two kids shut up and Suigetsu extended his arm begrudgingly. Kabuto poured the liquid on his arm and it burned like hell. Suigetsu had to grit his teeth not to scream. The red-haired girl was looking at him, so he didn't want to give her the satisfaction. As I expected, the hydrification jutsu doesn't work on it. I did my best to replicate Mate Furumi's vapor-style jutsu, and it seems like my efforts paid off. Kabuto smiled. Very nice of you to burn me like that. The patch of Suigetsu's arm with the acid steamed, and the water was not coalescing back. And thanks for giving me that scar. Not so fast. I brought Karin here for that reason. Huh? No, I'm not doing it. You don't have a choice, I'm afraid. Suigetsu, bite her arm. What? Why would I do that? So she can heal you, or at least try. I've tried to recover your water body with my regular healing ninjutsu, but it doesn't work. Karin's healing abilities, though, are special. I'm interested to see if they're going to work on you. I'm not letting this mongrel bite me! Kabuto snatched her arm and yanked her out of place, pulling her arm close to Suigetsu. The girl let out a quiet yelp. She was suffering. Suigetsu could tell her annoyingness was probably a defense mechanism just like his humor. Bite her. Suigetsu did so, but very gently, and Karin was surprised by that. You have to bite with far more gusto. Yeah, just get over with it, you pervert! You're just enjoying yourself at this point. Suigetsu grunted and acquiesced. He bit, digging into her skin, and Karin winced. A large amount of chakra came washing over Suigetsu's body, and he felt great. The acid wound closed up, and the pain faded away. Interesting. It works. Your abilities are quite impressive, Karin. Whatever. Can I see Sasuke now? You will see Sasuke when Lord Orochimaru decides you can see Sasuke. But he said it's not fair. The girl was holding back tears. And who was this Sasuke guy? Her brother or something? As a matter of fact, Suigetsu will be the one to see Sasuke. Lord Orochimaru designated you as his training partner for a while. What? Why him? Why not me? She looked at Suigetsu with burning hatred as tears fell down her cheeks. Hey, don't look at me like that. I don't even know who this guy is. And did you really have to tell her that? Kabuto smirked, turning his palms upwards, and Karin punched him in the face again, popping his head once more. You know, punching me is not gonna make you see Sasuke, I'm afraid. Suigetsu thought about making a joke and throwing more water at her, but she was truly distressed, so he decided not to. After another day of travel, Kabuto and Suigetsu arrived at another hideout. It was again pretty similar to the other two, except that this time, Suigetsu felt a terrible feeling. Something deep inside that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. Kabuto took him to an underground sparring facility that looked like a pit battle arena. A man appeared from another door. He looked different, but Suigetsu would never forget those eyes. The snake gaze. That was Orochimaru, alright. Suigetsu had heard that was his regular form.
Our drill bag has arrived.
Suigetsu didn't dare say a word.
You are a proficient swordsman, aren't you, Suigetsu?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Sasuke!
A boy emerged from the same place Orochimaru came from. He was also around Suigetsu's age, with black hair, and his eyes, they were red. He walked into the arena with a cold but determined face. He wasn't nervous at all, or at least, it didn't seem like it. Suigetsu imagined that living around Orochimaru would be a nerve-wracking experience, but this guy didn't seem to mind it. So that's the Sasuke that girl Karin was talking about. Doesn't look like her brother, Suigetsu thought.
Suigetsu will help you develop your swordship skills. You can go all out on him, Sasuke. Aim for the kill.
I am not killing him.
No, you won't. That's the beauty of it. You can simulate all-out combat because blades don't work on his body. You can hack and slash on him and nothing will happen.
Sasuke let out a sound of acknowledgement. He was terribly condescending towards Orochimaru. Was it sheer stupidity or was this guy a big deal?
Suigetsu, you must go full force as well. Try to kill him.
But if I hit him, he will...
Kabuto will heal Sasuke if it comes to it.
Alright, sir. Understood. Sasuke and Suigetsu drew their blades and assumed battle stances facing each other. Suigetsu looked straight into his red eyes, and he felt dizzy. Suigetsu could swear the eyes were spinning and getting bigger. Before he lost his stomach, Suigetsu lunged forward and slashed at Sasuke's head, hitting the left temple and slicing through his skull. What? He didn't even try to protect himself? What the hell? How weak was this guy? Suigetsu thought in horror of what he did. If this guy was Orochimaru's prized pupil, and Suigetsu just killed him, that meant the snake man would kill Suigetsu in the worst possible way imaginable. No, but he told me to go for the kill. How would I know that Sasuke was so weak? Suigetsu dared to look at Orochimaru. He wanted to gauge his reaction, and to his surprise, the snake man had the creepiest grin on his face. A blade emerged out of Suigetsu's stomach, splashing droplets of water. What? He said, not understanding what happened.
You are supposed to train swordsmanship, not genjutsu, Sasuke.
Sasuke's corpse faded out of existence. I couldn't resist. He was asking for it, looking straight into my eyes. Sasuke said from behind Suigetsu, holding his blade that still crossed the watery torso of Suigetsu. He put me under a genjutsu just by looking into my eyes? That's crazy, Suigetsu thought.
I would advise you not to look into Sasuke's Sharingan, Suigetsu.
Sharingan, like the copy ninja, so this guy actually is a big deal. Suigetsu ran forward, freeing his chest of Sasuke's blade and spun around, slashing, but Sasuke parried his attack. Quite easily, in fact, to Suigetsu's surprise. That was fast. But what about this? Suigetsu thought, and unleashed a flurry of cuts and thrusts. But Sasuke, as if he knew Suigetsu's every move, parried them with annoying elegance. Damn it, he's good! Suigetsu motioned to unleash another combo, but Sasuke acted faster. Sasuke's blade neutralized Suigetsu's in a bind, and Sasuke stepped forward, overpowering Suigetsu's form and thrusting to the middle of his forehead. Sasuke's blade crossed his head and emerged on the other side. What? He took advantage of a tiny window when my guard was transitioning and used a perfect bind thrust combination to attack me. Only a master swordsman will be able to perceive such a tiny window of opportunity. What the hell? Suigetsu pulled his head out of Sasuke's sword and re-engaged. He tried a double feinting strike. His goal was to attract Sasuke's sword upwards to protect his head, but redirect the attack to Sasuke's stomach. But Sasuke saw through it as well. He cut Suigetsu's hand, which turned into water, and sliced his stomach, drenching the ground beneath them. The two boys kept on fighting under the heavy gaze of Orochimaru. Suigetsu tried everything he knew. All types of attacks, combos, and guards his brother had taught him. Even some very unorthodox styles. But nothing worked. It was as if Sasuke could see the future, and his blade work was much more elegant than Suigetsu's. He drew water out of Suigetsu time and time again, and Suigetsu couldn't land a single cut.
As expected, having you copy the moves of that Snow Village Swordsmaster paid off.
After over 3 hours of sparring, Suigetsu was exhausted. But so was Sasuke. He could tell that could be Suigetsu's chance. And he also noticed that Sasuke's eyes reverted back to their regular form. They were no longer red, which made Sasuke lose his elegance, and it made him worse at parrying and reading Suigetsu's movements. But he was still a better swordsman than Suigetsu. He's faster than me and much more talented. But without the Sharingan, there's a chance. I may not be able to land a clear hit, but I don't have to. With my hydrification jutsu, double hits are all mine, Suigetsu thought. A double hit was when both swordsmen hit each other at the same time, which usually was a bad thing. You would take your opponent out, but die in the process. For Suigetsu, however, double hits were as good as clean hits. And now that Sasuke's Sharingan was not activated, his form wasn't as refined, meaning that Suigetsu could try to force a double hit. He blocked an incoming strike, parrying Sasuke's blade and breaking his guard. Suigetsu lunged forward with his sword. Sasuke, realizing he wouldn't have time to block, brought his sword back down, attempting to stop Suigetsu's attack before he got to Sasuke, but there was no time. They would both strike each other at the same time, meaning Suigetsu would win the exchange. Wait a minute, this is not genjutsu anymore. I might actually kill him, Suigetsu realized as his sword was inches away from Sasuke's neck. But a snake bit Suigetsu's blade, stopping it before it landed on Sasuke, whose blade in turn cut through Suigetsu's neck, beheading him. Orochimaru had extended a snake out of his sleeve to catch Suigetsu's blade.
It took a little over 3 hours for you to get damaged, Sasuke. It appears that is your current time limit for the Sharingan if you don't use other jutsus,
Orochimaru said as Suigetsu's head reformed. It's rising steadily. It appears the chakra-enhancing pills I developed are working. Why don't you create more powerful pills? Sasuke demanded. He was frustrated. It seemed like Sasuke thought he wasn't getting stronger fast enough. I could, but I designed them specifically for your body, Sasuke, so that the benefits they bring won't cause you too much long-term harm. Making them more powerful would overwhelm your internal organs and shorten your lifespan significantly. I already developed the anti-stasis drug that allows your body to recover much faster so you don't have to sleep as much. And Aromatics are applying healing ninjutsu on your muscles for you to recover much faster from training sessions. That already increased the amount of training you get substantially. I don't care about my lifespan. Just make me stronger.
Now, you don't want to die before you achieve your goals. All your efforts would be meaningless if that happened. Besides, I've never had a pupil that progressed so fast as you are, Sasuke. Just be a bit more patient.
Fine.
Now come, it is time Time for your stamina training.
Orochimaru and Sasuke left. Stamina training? After 3 hours of sparring? Is this guy insane? I can barely walk from exhaustion. Suigetsu thought, exasperated. You'll be staying in this hideout for the foreseeable future, acting as Sasuke's sparring partner, Kabuto told Suigetsu. Sounds good, I guess. Just one more thing. Lord Orochimaru and I won't be around all the time when you spar. If you kill Lord Orochimaru's prized vessel, you will suffer more than you can possibly imagine. Kabuto said that in a weirdly casual tone, which made it 10 times more disturbing to Suigetsu. But he's way better than I am. How can I do that? You say that, and yet you would have killed him in that last attack. So I suggest you don't try the double hit feint again when Sasuke's Sharingan deactivates. Alright, I won't. I'm surrounded by all these creepy monsters. Damn it. I guess it's my life now. I doubt I have any chances of escaping at all, Suigetsu thought. The following day on their next sparring session, Sasuke was even stronger, faster, and more precise with his blade work. It was infuriating. Was he holding back yesterday? It's either that or he's literally improved this much in a single day. Suigetsu thought as Sasuke landed a slicing cut to his side. No, that's not possible. Maybe he was tired yesterday or something. Or, because nobody is watching today, he's letting everything out. Who knows? I wonder how well he would have done against my brother in a sword fight. After over 3 hours, Sasuke's Sharingan deactivated and Suigetsu called off the session. He wouldn't want to hurt Orochimaru's precious little boy. He hadn't landed a single hit on him while the Sharingan was on, and not for lack of trying, but Suigetsu knew he could do it when Sasuke's Sharingan was no longer on. I admit, you're a very good swordsman. How long have you been training your blade work? Since last week, Suigetsu laughed. Okay, but seriously, I'm just curious. I am serious. I had never used a sword until last week. He's not joking, Suigetsu thought in utter shock. But how? How is this possible? Suigetsu shouted. That guy had been training for a week, and he was already far better than Suigetsu at swordsmanship, who had been training since he remembered. Suigetsu's very first memory was him holding a wooden sword and swinging it against his dad. Sasuke sighed. I have inherited a great amount of talent from my clan. I have to hone that talent to its limit.
Time for your stamina training, Sasuke.
Orochimaru said right after he arrived. Sasuke walked away, but before leaving the pit, he stopped. You were stronger today than you were yesterday. You're not a slouch, he said and left. Not a slouch? Is he mocking me? He's the one who's got a lot stronger from yesterday. Now I see why he's Orochimaru's favorite. So these types of people actually exist, huh? Over the next 2 weeks, Suigetsu and Sasuke sparred every day. Sasuke's development was insane. He got much stronger every time they sparred again. Orochimaru watched their sessions every other day. Needless to say, Suigetsu felt much better when the Snake Man wasn't around. So, how did Orochimaru get his fangs on you? Suigetsu asked Sasuke after a session on a day Orochimaru wasn't around. What do you mean? Like, how did he capture you or whatever? You're from the Leaf Village, aren't you? I came here willingly. What? What would anyone do that? Orochimaru can offer me something I need. And what is that? A big tongue? Power. Suigetsu sighed. He didn't understand the guy at all. Power for what? Vengeance. I see. Suigetsu's face turned grim all of a sudden. The image of Kai smiling popped in his mind.
I am canceling your training today, Sasuke.
Orochimaru said after he arrived to watch them spar. And we just begun.
Today your training will be more practical.
Orochimaru opened a wide grin. Meaning?
We are going on a mission.
What mission?
To kill a Kage.
I'm not killing anyone except for him.
You don't have to do it yourself. I'll be doing that part. But fighting against a Kage will be a good measure of strength and development, and it will give you an idea of how powerful enemies will become. Your quarry is far more formidable than a Kage.
Excuse me, Lord Orochimaru, is this Kage Yagura?
Precisely.
So he is going to fulfill his end of the bargain with me. Kill that bastard. Suigetsu clenched his fist. I'm not letting you kill an innocent man because of your whims.
Yagura is anything but innocent. As the fourth Mizukage he promoted several genocides of small populations around the Land of Water and commanded his own youth time and time again to kill each other so that they can become ninjas of the mist. A terrible man indeed.
Orochimaru's words were laced with poisonous irony.
If Yagura dies, the mist will go through a regime change, become more humane. Wouldn't that something you'd like to see, my dear Sasuke? Not to mention, Yagura is aiding the Akatsuki, funding them, providing logistical support. If Yagura dies, it will gravely affect the Akatsuki, and it will be a great blow to him by consequence. That is very much in your interest.
Yagura is an evil, foul man. He needs to die for the sake of everyone. I've seen what he can do firsthand. He should die, Suigetsu said with a low voice. Sasuke sheathed his sword. Fine, we're going.
Good. This will be very interesting.
Wait, please, Lord Orochimaru! Suigetsu gathered up courage to speak. Can I go with you, please?
And why would you want to risk yourself like that?
Vengeance. Sasuke narrowed his eyes, looking at Suigetsu.
I see you haven't finished business with your old Mizukage. We'll take care of it for you, little Suigetsu.
No, he's coming with us, Sasuke commanded. How could he be so bold? Orochimaru looked from Sasuke to Suigetsu and narrowed his eyes.
You won't use this as a chance to escape, will you, Suigetsu?
No, I'm going with you to kill Yagura.
Very well then, you may join us. Your powers could be useful.
Thanks, Suigetsu whispered to Sasuke, who nodded back at him.
Mei Terumi informed us that only 2 missed Anbu ninjas will be escorting Yagura. We must deal with them first to make sure they can't escape with knowledge of our attack.
Orochimaru said as the 3 jumped from tree branch to tree branch. Where will they be exactly?
They are headed to the waterfall village, so they will be crossing over the Sound territories.
Orochimaru licked his lips with his oversized tongue.
They are right up ahead.
Yagura, that little bastard. He caused all the suffering in Suigetsu's life. He made Suigetsu kill the shark people. He made Suigetsu kill Kai, and now he would die. Suigetsu saw red. His face tensed up, and he unsheathed his blade. 2 masked Mist Anbu flanked Yagura from each side as they walked through the forest. Lord Mizukage, we have enemies approaching! One of them shouted. A barrage of water bullets exploded from within the forest, aiming at them. Yagura and the Anbus dodged. That's the Hozuki clan water pistol! The other Anbu said. Yagura! Suigetsu cruised the air, screaming with his sword at the ready, darting at the Mizukage. One Anbu unsheathed his sword and stepped in front of the Mizukage, blocking the incoming attack with a loud metal clink. It sent sparks flying off the clashing blades. Suigetsu, good. Once we capture you, we'll find out what happened to your brother. Yagura said in a dull tone, as if he wasn't even being attacked. The Anbu engaged Suigetsu in a sword fight. They hacked and slashed against each other. Suigetsu didn't even bother parrying. He used his hydrification jutsu to survive the attacks and press on. No! You will die today, Yagura! Suigetsu screamed as Sasuke and Orochimaru emerged from the forest.
He really is eager for vengeance. Sasuke, take the Mizukage. I'll take care of the escort.
Sasuke dashed, unsheathing his sword. The second Anbu tried to engage with him, but Sasuke zigzagged and fooled him, passing by the Anbu and going straight at Yagura, aiming his blade at him. The Kage blocked the sword with his strange hook staff and engaged Sasuke with his weapon in a fierce exchange. The hook staff was bigger than him, but he could move it with so much precision and speed. Sasuke's Sharingan moved left and right to keep up, and he was being overwhelmed. Orochimaru, I should have known a foul man like you will be behind this attack, Yagura said, as he fought Sasuke. Orochimaru released over a dozen snakes from his sleeve. They darted at the second Anbu member, who turned around to attack Sasuke Sasuke from behind, but he didn't have time. The Yambu turned around and he managed to cut a few of the snakes before they got to him, but several of them attacked and bit all over his body, wrapping themselves around him, injecting deadly venom. The man screamed in agony, and Orochimaru jerked his arm upwards, pulling the snakes and dragging the Yambu into the air, and then smashing the man against the ground, creating a small crater, using the snakes to do it. Suigetsu screamed in anger, pressing down on the Yambu, as Sasuke did everything he could to keep up with the Kage. Orochimaru opened his mouth wide in an uncanny way and spat the Kusanagi sword, hitting Suigetsu in the back. The sword crossed Suigetsu and hit the Yambu he was fighting against, killing him instantly. Suigetsu completely ignored the sword that just passed through him and screamed, dashing at Yagura with all his hatred. Die! He engaged the Kage alongside Sasuke, who was being overwhelmed. The two boys now managed to press the Kage back. They had improved their sword skills a lot over the last couple of weeks, but it seemed like Yagura was just waiting for that. He hit Suigetsu, exploding his head, and pierced Sasuke's torso with his hook. Sasuke, however, became a fireball and exploded, forcing Yagura to dash back and avoid the fiery blast. A fire clone from the beginning. The real Sasuke appeared from behind the Mizukage, with a Chidori blasting on his hand, ready to strike Yagura from behind. The Kage spun around and released water from the tip of his hook staff. The water became an oval-shaped mirror that reflected Sasuke's Chidori! Water style, aqua mirror! Yagura pulled the mirror down with his hook, and another Sasuke appeared from it, mirroring the real one with a Chidori aiming at the real Sasuke. The two Chidoris clashed, and the mirror Sasuke exploded into water, sending the real Sasuke crashing and destroying trees with wisps of lightning all around his body. Yagura jumped towards him, brandishing his hook, aiming at Sasuke, but Orochimaru launched his snakes, and they wrapped themselves around the hook, which prevented Yagura from finishing Sasuke off. The Uchiha stood back up and reignited his Chidori. Yagura was forced to let go of his grapple hook staff to dodge the Chidori attack. Suigetsu unleashed another barrage of water bullets, but Yagura used a water-style barrier to protect himself that looks like the mirror. Sasuke, Orochimaru, and Suigetsu regrouped, standing a dozen meters away from the Kage. He is stronger than I expected, Sasuke said, wincing in pain, as small wisps of lightning still wrapped themselves around his body.
He is a Kage. What did you expect, Sasuke? He wouldn't just drop dead.
We can take him! We just have to attack together! Suigetsu screamed. He was still eager to go. I won't be another Kage that you kill, Orochimaru. You misjudge my abilities. A wave of chakra erupted from Yagura. It was powerful and dense. Even though Suigetsu stood a dozen meters away from him, he could feel the chakra's amazing pressure on his skin, where smaller sections turned into water because of it. Gray and red jagged plates grew out of his skin and covered the entire body of the Mizukage. Gray, wavy, and laminar chakra exuded from Yagura, cracking the ground around him, lifting up small rocks.
Partial tail beast transformation. Don't lower your guard, Sasuke.
Yagura dashed with amazing speed, breaking the ground beneath his feet. Orochimaru unleashed snakes at him, but Yagura punched them and destroyed the creatures. Before he got to them, Sasuke dashed away, and Yagura hit Suigetsu with his jagged, plated fist, destroying the entire upper part of his body. He then used the jagged parts of his carapace to cut through Orochimaru's chest, splashing blood all over him, dropping Orochimaru to the ground, and then diverted his attention towards Sasuke. The curse mark patterns covered all over Sasuke's skin, which increased his speed even further. He dodged the Mizukage's taijutsu attacks, but Yagura stepped on the ground and sent sharp, growing corals that grew on the ground and chased Sasuke. He weaved hand signs, igniting a Chidori. Sasuke slashed the corals, but Yagura dashed at him, aiming a powerful punch at Sasuke's face. That would be bad. But before Yagura hit him, a great water wall was raised in front of him. Yagura destroyed the barrier, but that allowed time for Sasuke to dodge. Sasuke looked at Suigetsu, who had reformed, and nodded in appreciation. Suigetsu nodded back, and Orochimaru's dead corpse opened his mouth and puked a new Orochimaru out of it, which grossed Suigetsu out. Damn, I thought he was dead, but that was disgusting. At least, well, he can help us kill Yagura. Fireball jutsu! Sasuke spat a fireball at Yagura, exploding him away, but the Three Tails armor prevented any extensive damage. Sasuke regrouped with Orochimaru and Suigetsu. His body was fully taken by the first stage of the curse mark. That was nothing. You haven't even seen what I can truly do. Orochimaru! More chakra erupted out of Yagura, but this time the power was truly overwhelming. Suigetsu recoiled back, and his legs quivered in fear. The jagged plates grew out, and Yagura's body began to transform and expand, growing to a gargantuan size.
Now that's bad news.
The three tails appeared in its full might, roaring. The tail beast destroyed a large section of the forest just by appearing there, and the sound coming out of its mouth bent the trees around him that weren't destroyed, blowing away thousands of leaves. What now, Orochimaru?
In my current state, I'm afraid I can't take on a full-tailed beast.
No, we can't give up now! We have to kill him! Aren't you a legendary ninja or something? Suigetsu screamed at Orochimaru, not caring anymore, but Orochimaru looked at him, and for the first time, he felt real killing intent coming from Orochimaru towards Suigetsu himself. His hateful gaze was more frightening than the three tails. It made Suigetsu fall to the ground. Can't you summon one of those large snakes to fight against it? I can weave signs for you. I just need your blood.
The only summon I have that would be useful here is Manda, and she is very angry with me. She wouldn't want to help us in this predicament.
Then we run.
I'm afraid not. The three tails can be strangely fast on land. You'll have to subdue it, Sasuke. Take this as a test for your Sharingan.
Very well then. The curse mark patterns coalesced and were drained into his Sharingan, turning the white part of his eyes black. As the three tails motioned to attack, Sasuke locked eyes with it, and his Sharingan spun, casting an ocular genjutsu. Sasuke appeared at a strange dark place where he could see dozens of thick chains imprisoning the three tails. The gray tail beast clutched Yagura in its claws, transferring a gargantuan amount of power to him. The Mizukage was in a dazed state. He didn't notice Sasuke at all, unlike the three tails. Is this his subconscious? Sasuke wondered, but he could feel another presence lurking around, a third entity. You're not supposed to be here! The three tails screamed, looking at Sasuke. It made Sasuke's insides shake. I can leave here once you stop giving your powers to him. Sasuke pointed at Yagura. No! You're gonna kill him! I can let him die! It's too painful! It's gonna rip me apart! Then I'm gonna have to force you. Sasuke weaved hand signs, but a dark figure held his hands, stopping him from finishing them. Halt right there, Sasuke Uchiha, the figure said, with an imposing voice. He wore a strange black and orange mask and had long black hair. So you are the other one. Who are you? The figure turned his face to Sasuke. The mask had a single eye hole, and through it, Sasuke saw the unmistakable crimson hue of the Sharingan. I am a ghost. Sasuke dashed back, releasing his hands from the man's grasp. A primordial fear creeped into his mind. That eye, that man, what was him? You're an Uchiha? I am many things. That's not Itachi. I know it's not. The feeling is too different. But why does he have a Sharingan? Sasuke thought, controlling his anxiety and fear. You're controlling the Mizukage, aren't you? He's under your genjutsu. Only the Sharingan genjutsu is powerful enough to penetrate this deep into the Jinchuriki's psyche. You haven't answered my question. No, I haven't. I'm busy at the moment. We have a deal. Get rid of this brat. The three tails shouted. Unlike him, I am not presentially casting the genjutsu. I am at a great disadvantage here, three tails. And do not give me orders. The man said with disgust pouring out of his voice. Fine, I'll do whatever you want. I just don't want this wuss controlling me to his whim anymore. Never! Don't misunderstand. That offer is completely void. You'll do whatever I want, regardless of what I do, three tails. Somehow, Sasuke thought the tail beast quivered in fear. Who the hell was this guy? The three tails allowed him to control the Mizukage, so the Mizukage couldn't control it. It didn't matter. Sasuke unsheathed his sword. Brave. I wonder, Sasuke Uchiha, what is the true measure of your potential? The strange man pulled out his blade. They both locked their Sharingan eyes from a distance. The curse mark patterns and the strange patterns on the man's mask mask were at odds with each other. They seemed to be eager for combat. They both assumed a dashing posture with their swords. For a brief instant, it was as if the world stood still, silent and unchangeable, and then they both dashed at each other, waiting until the last second to swing their swords. They clashed and passed by each other. Both of them stopped at the opposite side as they started the dash, holding the follow-through postures. For another brief instant, everything stood still, and like a lightning flash, an ethereal cut manifested itself across the masked man's waist. Sasuke smirked in satisfaction. I look forward to meeting you again, Sasuke Uchiha. He faded away, disappearing from the strange realm. No! You bastard! You lost to a brat! The Three Tails screamed as the Mizukage awoke from his trance-like state. He looked in shock, but Sasuke locked eyes with him. Oi, Mizukage, control that monster of yours.
The power of the Sharingan is truly magnificent,
Orochimaru said, licking his lips as he watched the Three Tails shrinking down as its massive chakran form returned back inside of Yagura until only the Mizukage was left. I did it, Sasuke said, panting. What? Where am I? What's going on? What happened? Yagura said, looking desperate and lost. He looked at his own hands as if he couldn't recognize them, and then at his surroundings, completely confused. Who are you? He asked the three, with tears streaming down his face. Die! Yagura didn't even motion a reaction in his state of shock. Suigetsu cleaved through Yagura's torso with a diagonal slash, bisecting the Mizukage. The two sections of his body landed on the ground with a flapping sound, and a pool of blood began to form around them. Suigetsu cried as he stared down at the dead man, and to his utter terror, even after killing the bastard who caused him so much suffering, he didn't feel better at all. Maybe he felt even worse. There was a perpetual vacuum installed in every fiber of his being, a vacuum he thought he would never be able to fill, even with his death. Kai would never return, and now he truly had to accept it. He would never see her smile again. He fell to his knees and sobbed. That was all he could do.
So much bloodlust. Color me surprised.
His vengeance is fulfilled, but he doesn't feel better. He never had revenge etched in his heart.
Perhaps.
Orochimaru and Sasuke watched Suigetsu crying next to the dead Kage. Chakra began leaking out of Yagura's corpse. It was so dense that it almost looked solid. As the energy gushed out of him, it made a sound that resembled a scream of utter pain and agony, and the ripples leaking out made it look like something was dying.
When a Jinchuriki dies, the tail beast is ripped apart and its chakra is dispersed in the world. It will take some time until the Three Tails reforms itself. That should delay the Akatsuki's plans.
So it really is a painful process. That's why the Three Tails didn't want Yagura to die, Sasuke thought.
It was strange though, don't you think?
What was strange?
The way Yagura was acting after you subdued the Three Tails. He seemed lost. Did anything weird happen when you cast the Genjutsu?
No, not really. So this is where they usually store you, huh? Sasuke said, looking at Suigetsu, who was inside of his tank. A few days had passed after their mission to assassinate Yagura. Yep, it's kinda gross when I have to pee and stuff. Apparently Orochimaru is going to train me in other areas. He says my swordsmanship skills are adequate for now, so I don't think we'll spar for a while. Yeah, well, I still don't get how you can stand a snake, man. I mean, sure, Yagura had to die, but the other stuff he does? Like, make no mistake, I despise Orochimaru. I'm just using him for my personal goal. When his utility runs its course, I'll kill him myself. He wasn't lying. Suigetsu could tell it. Sasuke really believed he could do that. Not if I get him first, Sasuke chuckled. Not if your leg gives out just by looking at his face. I was bluffing. Sure you were. You can be a pain. You know that, right? Sasuke turned around to leave, but before he did so, he stopped. One day I'll get you out of there, Suigetsu. Until then, we must play our parts. Suigetsu sighed, telling the story to Karin and Jugo. After that, Kabuto and his goons kept running experiments on me. All sorts of weird things they did. Karin and I had a few more encounters. Jugo, we even fought against each other and alongside each other a couple of times. But it was more of the same. It was like nothing ever happened. Until years later, when Sasuke arrived at my tank and got me out of there with the news that he had killed Orochimaru.
What happened to Mei and the Mist Village?
Jugo asked, with genuine curiosity. Apparently Mei became the 5th Mizukage, and apparently she managed to do that without violence, thanks to all the planning and things she did.
Well, that's good. So your sacrifice paid off. The Mist Village is not doing all those terrible things anymore, thanks to you.
I didn't do squat, Jugo. Stop trying to make me the hero.
You literally killed the evil Mizukage.
I just got to deliver the finishing blow. Sasuke and Orochimaru did the rest. Besides, I felt awful after that. Empty, and I also broke my promise of never killing again. I broke that promise so many times. Anyway, that was my story. As I said, not very interesting. Karin wasn't looking at Suigetsu. She had turned her head to the wall midway through the story. See? She even fell asleep to my story. Suigetsu pulled Karin to wake her up, but he was startled to find out she was awake, and her eyes were filled with tears. Karin immediately turned away from him, but Suigetsu grinned. Were you crying because of my story? Really? Damn! It's almost like you have a heart, Karin! Shut up, Suigetsu! I wasn't crying, I was yawning! Your story was so boring, it made me sleepy! They started to argue again. Suigetsu joked, and Karin got outraged. Jugo observed, but unbeknownst to them, Sasuke was awake. He had listened to Suigetsu's story. Watch part 61 right here. Please like the video, subscribe, ring notifications so you always know when the rewrites come out. Comment down below what you thought about this episode, and thank you so much for watching.